time to be here. Thank you for your attention to participate in community dialogue. And thank you for your open mind and patience to receive another's perspective. This opportunity means a lot to me and the people I support, and is a valuable, underestimated aspect of our freedom of speech. We exist to have relationship, and relationship built on trust and teamwork yields thriving communities. So the way we handle this dialogue has a direct influence on the way others are inspired to participate. We each have the innate desire to be heard. When we feel heard, we feel good. And when we feel good, we take care of ourselves. And when we take care of ourselves, we take care of others. So thank you for this opportunity. I come in peace. For the record, I have come into this play in its late hours. My experience here locally is limited, so I turn to the community, the real authorities, to listen, to collect, and to organize. I have heard both sides of this debate, and I understand the perspectives of both sides. This presentation is from those with concerns about Next proposal who feel they have been disregarded. It should be noted that local landowners and farmers neighboring the proposed site are strongly against Next proposal. This is no simple discussion by any means, as there is much at stake. Thus, all further decisions should cease until there is full comprehension of our community's voice. We are farmers, teachers, business owners, community leaders, parents and their children, and capable, intelligent, independently minded individuals who understand it is in our best interest to not just take someone's word for it. It is our goal, therefore, to provide our community with resources to fully understand the implications of Next proposal and to inform the community when there are opportunities for public comment and involvement in a timely and sufficient manner, and facilitate that participation with certain resources. This conversation is in dire need of balance, and so we urge local government and agencies to slow this process in opening to much desired and much deserved community dialogue. This dialogue is required. Our approach includes post mailers, email lists, social media, local flyers, meetings, newspaper, radio, and of course, faster than wildfire, word of mouth. We feel this is imperative because Next is presenting one of the largest proposed refineries in the world, and certainly one of the largest industrial developments Clatskanie has ever seen. This is a massive proposal and should be handled with care, patience, and due diligence. Instead, it has felt rushed, premature in some instances, and unrealistically scheduled. Our community should not be forced to rush through such a tremendous proposal. In that rush, we have experienced inadequately disseminated information to our community and surrounding communities regarding many basic aspects of this proposal, including the full scope implications of this project. When asked, a majority of community members were in the dark regarding some basic questions, like what the facility would even produce, what renewable diesel actually is, how Next presence would affect our community and the neighbors to the proposed site, so on. Despite what Christopher Effort, Executive Chairman of Next, has called an aggressive community outreach, the true nature of this proposal is lost on many. Our community has also been largely unaware of the opportunities and deadlines for public comment and involvement, or even how to formally participate in this process. Deadlines for public comment regarding next permit applications have come up last minute, poorly advertised, if at all, leaving locals scrambling to understand complex regulatory language, formulate feedback, questions, or concerns, and inform the community accordingly. Currently, we are up against deadlines for public comment regarding permitting with the Army Corps of Engineers and the Department of Environmental Quality. Many people we have spoken with were not aware that this coming Saturday is the last day for any public submissions regarding permitting. Additionally, our county commissioners curtailed public process by voting to cancel consultation with our local planning commission instead of taking the time to reorient the opportunity for public input. Time and time again, our questions remain unanswered or disregarded as permitting and planning pushes forward. Time and again, shoulders are shrugged with no guidance towards resources to directly address community questions. Time and again, we have had to bushwhack for our own findings in what has been well termed an informational desert regarding our city and county websites, as well as Next website and the sparse media covering this proposal. It is no wonder we hear how daunting it feels for most community members to be well informed and understand when and how to participate. It has certainly been daunting for me, leading a busy life and working hard to build local economy. I homestead to provide for my family. I farm to provide for other families. I'm starting a business where all of our farmers can provide for all of our families. I volunteer on the Clatskanie Farmers Market Board. I volunteer for the Clatskanie Middle and High School Gardens. I organize the Clatskanie Community Garden and community events around food, films, music, and fun times. Jasmine and I regularly apply for grants to create jobs in our community and create space for entrepreneurs to grow our local economy alongside. This is hard work amidst attending meetings, doing research, staying informed, and informing others. It should not be so challenging and inhibitive to participate in local planning and development that directly affects our daily lives. Second to our concerns regarding public inclusion, we understand the questionable history of management within Next should caution a relationship with this company. Past and present management, Lou Sumas and Christopher Everett, were involved with Transmesas Columbia Plateau, responsible for the abandoned failed facility in Odessa, Washington. Their refinery closed unexpectedly, the entire staff was fired, outstanding debts and taxes were ignored, instead paying their own management, and their facility was classified by the EPA as a Superfund site using tax dollars for cleanup. Our community has also been publicly threatened with litigation for questioning rhetoric around this issue, as well as misleading language found in the proposals and applications. So, consider the culture this company would bring to Clatskanie, and the integrity of their words when they promise good behavior and big benefits to our community. Has our local government proven due diligence in investigating their management and industry experience? We understand their questionable proposals, like will we actually see tax revenues? How can we be certain of a pay schedule? If we're depending on this money, then we are gambling the entire community on the whims of the volatile commodities market, supply chain logistics, and the best case operating scenario for this facility. Given this facility will not rely on local feedstocks and will require massive importation of ingredients for their products, banking on this income is risky. What if this plant fails? What if its technology is abandoned sooner than expected? If you talk with the Beaver Drainage District, you will discover many conversations with Next have involved the reneging of previous agreements regarding mitigation and site construction. You will hear a story of struggle with the inconsistencies of NEXT's ever-changing proposals and blatant disregard for their impact on the surrounding community. Given NEXT's management's historical behavior, we feel they may not repair or compensate for damages to our local environment and infrastructure, such as dike roads, neighboring properties affected by the wetland mitigation and drainage district reconstruction. Certainly, there will be a construction boom. But will we see permanent jobs? In NEXT's exemption application, per the county's goal for development, this refinery is considered not labor intensive. This makes sense given the highly mechanized nature of this operation and the toxic caustic chemicals required for production. Further investigation alludes to the predominant need for highly skilled and trained positions, a level of expertise that is likely not entirely available in our and neighboring labor pools. Furthermore, a training program certainly seems incongruent with their production timeline. It begs the question, is there more of this conversation to be had besides an Excel sheet job schedule and a boasting economic report? Furthermore, areas that see large-scale industry, such as this proposed refinery, tend to be predominantly minority or low income, and rarely see the benefits of such industry in their communities. Rather, they are forced to contend with pollution and its associated impacts on their health and quality of life. NEXT has failed to explain why its proposed project is water dependent. Other areas with better rail access, stable soils, and adequate access to feedstock have not been sufficiently investigated or specifically excluded. NEXT has also reserved the right to shift from waterway utilization to increase rail and road traffic if market conditions require. Currently, they propose as many as 60 semi-trucks monthly traveling down Quincy Maker Road and upwards of 17 trains of unclearly defined lengths and frequencies, subject to change as the market dictates. Our community has received inadequate information regarding proposed land traffic, including the initial 2-year construction period. Based on the scale of this facility and the number of proposed construction jobs, our communities would face an immense impact to our infrastructure and environment. This issue has not been adequately discussed. Our community has additionally received inadequate information regarding the complete wetland mitigation proposal, yet permitting continues. NEXT is proposing roughly 750,000 cubic yards of soil be removed and trucked outside the Beaver Drainage District. Were someone within the district to receive this fill, they would also be required to mitigate accordingly. Issues with site suitability, such as liquefiable soils, sensitive dikes, and impacts to critical habitat for threatened and endangered species like salmon, have not been addressed. Additionally, NEXT has yet to fully elaborate on their waste treatment and disposal plan. Currently, toxic waste products will be shipped via rail to an undisclosed location. Why does this all sound so urgent? Because our window for public input is closing. With the timing of permit applications, the window for discovery is small. We understand this issue is complex. This is why we emphasize more time to understand is necessary. We understand this facility will produce pollution that affects our air quality and our health. Proposed pollution is 2 to 3 times the DEQ limit for volatile organic compounds, particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10, including over 1 million tons per year of greenhouse gas emissions. We understand this project would be detrimental to other communities. NEXT is misleading in classifying feedstocks as recycled organic material or in leading with used cooking oil. Next proposes as little as 15% used cooking oil, subject to change. Upwards of 60% of their feedstocks may be virgin oil crops like corn, soy, canola, and so on. Additionally, animal fat from feedlots feeding those same crops, corn, soy, canola, and so on, is likely to be the remainder. In our opinion, these feedstocks are not used or recycled. Furthermore, as GMO crops dominate the commodities market, it is likely this project will support carbon-intensive and carbon-destructive agriculture for the majority of its feedstocks. This agriculture is practiced on nearly half of the cultivatable land in the United States, yet is recognized by the USDA as destructive. Chemicals associated with this agriculture have been linked to cancer and fertility problems. Renewable diesel is quoted as being a stopgap technology or bridging industry. What is the exit strategy? What are the plans for our future? Currently, Next is only permitted to produce renewable diesel. If this falls out of the market due to the electrification of vehicles or tighter restrictions on travel, will they lobby for extenuating circumstances and retool their operations altogether? Times have changed dramatically since this ball with Next got rolling. Who could have imagined we would be where we are now, politically, climatologically, socially, and so on? Not one square inch of our lives remains the same. So then, is it not time to reevaluate the direction we were headed? Why then are we putting all our eggs into one transitional technology basket? Have we not learned from the development already at Port Westward? Do we not see big tech pushing fast and hard for batteries and electrification? What is the exit strategy for this company? For our port infrastructure funded by local taxes? And for the vacuum of funding that we'll face when this stopgap technology comes to pass? Mr. Rogers says, you can always say stop. You can always say no. I urge local government to say no to Next, to accept the misguided nature of development at Port Westward, and to consider more practical and moderate solutions for our economic needs. I would argue our priority is preserving our resources and investing our local tax dollars directly into maximizing what we already have, rather than piping millions of dollars to develop our land for out-of-community interests. Why are we not investing directly in our own community, into young entrepreneurs, our future, our grandchildren? There is tremendous opportunity to sustain local economy geared towards fiber and food, two industries that are scalable and congruent with our health. If we look at Next's own economic assessment, we'll see that if we want jobs, we need food and retail. Two industries with massive potential in our communities. If we want tax revenues, then we scale our food and fiber. There's certainly enough prime agricultural land out there, couldn't we say? Do we need to be rich, sick, and bombarded with massive development by farming out our future to corporate interests? Or can we be happy meeting our means as a healthy community founded on incremental, resilient, wise development that invests in its own people? Thank you for your time. This evening we prepared some handouts for you. I would like to give a thanks to Columbia River Keepers, 1,000 Friends of Oregon, the Beaver Drainage District. We have 4 packets of information back there. Two of those packets are the comments from the Beaver Drainage District to the Army Corps of Engineers and also to the Department of Environmental Quality. One of those packets is a mailer that we developed to help inform people that these deadlines for public comment were coming. And the other is a frequently asked question packet from Columbia River Keepers. So you can pick those up in the back. There's also an email list you can sign up for if you'd like to get more information. And
the deadlines for those comments are December 4th at 5 p.m. for DEQ and the Army Corps of Engineers. And there's instructions on how to submit those. And if you still need help, you can email portwestford@gmail.com. That's on our handout. And the county hearing for next application is January 5th at 10 a.m. in front of the county commissioners.
so again, those dates, if you would like to, if you need help getting your public comments in to the Army Corps of Engineers or the Department of Environmental Quality, these two permits sort of go hand in hand, so the deadlines are the same. That is this Saturday. You can email or write in. Unfortunately for the DEQ comments, the only way that we've discovered to submit your public opinion is through their portal, their online portal, which requires you to make an online account. So that's a bit inhibitive for some people perhaps. But if you need help submitting public comments, please contact Jasmine or I, or put your name on the mailing list back there. We're absolutely happy to help you. So thank you again for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brandon.